I can analyze the relationship shown by data presented in a scatter plot. So let's look at this. We have height and shoe size. Shoe size is on the y-axis and height is on the x-axis. This says as a person's height increases, going up, their shoe size increases. I would say that this is true. So we're going to go ahead and write increases here. So this is definitely a positive correlation because both sets of data, X and Y, are going up. Except that I think I've forgotten how to spell increase. No, I think I got it. Increases. All right. What shoe size would you expect a person to wear if they are 80 inches tall? Well, here's 80 inches. We're going to follow it up to the trend line, which is right about there. And I would expect they would wear a size 14 shoe. So you start at 80, you go straight up to where your trend line is, and follow it over to the size there. Okay, so the scatter plot shows the relationship between Marvin's age and the time it took him to run a mile. Which statement best describes the relationship between Marvin's age and the time it takes him to run a mile? If you look, all of the numbers are one apart here, and this is his age, so that's not a problem. When he was 11, he ran a mile in 7 minutes. When he was 14, he ran it in 6. When he was 16, he was above 5. And at 17, he was right above 5. So we can say A, there's no relationship. Well, that's not true because I definitely see a negative correlation here. As Marvin's age increased, the time it took him to run a mile decreased. That looks like it to me, but let's read the others. As Marvin's age increased, the time it took him to run remains the same. Nope, that would have been a flat line there, so that's not it. As Marvin's age increased, the time it took him to run a mile increased, and that's not true either. So this is definitely a negative correlation. Here it says the scatter plot below shows the heights and shoe sizes of 12 basketball players. And if you look at this, I think I see a positive correlation. Well, they want me to make a prediction, which means I need a trend line. So let me get my line tool. It says use the scatter plot to predict the shoe size of a basketball player who is 75 inches tall. Well, the first thing you have to do that is draw yourself a trend line. Like I said, try to make sure you've got the same number of points above as you do below. There you go. I think that's a pretty good trend line right there. And it says it wants me to predict a shoe size for somebody who's 75 inches tall. Well, here's 74 and there's 76. So that means 75 is right in the middle here. Right there. Okay? So if I follow this over here, that's right in the middle between 12 and 13. So my prediction would be that somebody who is 75 inches tall is going to wear a 12 and a half size shoe. Okay? Remember, that's a trend line, so we're just making a prediction. And that's all for that one.